seeing it?
Yep. Yeah, you are.
All right. I am not going to get into the detailed explanation of this until tomorrow, just so that we could get this done and start in on our homework here. But go ahead and take a look at number 8 in Lesson 64. We're going to do a couple of these together. All right, have you started then? Yeah. Okay, I should be able to do this in enough time. Under the gun here. Convert 6 plus 2i to polar form. Now, we have not graphed imaginary numbers before, but it's just like we've been graphing. Remember 6u plus 2r, or most recently they changed it to I and j, 6i plus 2j. Know what I'm talking about? Okay, imaginary numbers can be graphed the same. So if I'm to graph, which we're not doing, but just to show you what I'm talking about, the imaginary line would be the what axis, do you suppose? The y or the x? Friend?
X.
Okay, what comes first on the coordinate, the x or the y?
The Y. Oh, no, the X.
The x comes first, okay? So the 6 would be the x-axis, and the 2i is going to be the y-axis, if we think about this graphically. All right, it says convert it to polar form. The way we're going to do this is polar form. We do this the same way we did before. We would go 6 over, 2 up. And remember before you put it in this form? Remember that? You have the hypotenuse and the angle in there. The form here, when we're dealing with imaginary numbers, is CIS. Instead of that symbol, it's CIS, which stands for cosine, imaginary numbers, and sine, when we find these. Just a different form to designate graphing imaginary numbers rather than real. All right, so we want the angle and the hypotenuse. What's the easiest part? How do you find the hypotenuse? Brent? Pythagorean theorem. Okay, and then remember that's what goes out in front. So we do 2 squared plus 6 squared is equal to c squared. So we would get 36 plus 4, we get c squared is equal to 40. So take the square root of that. Simplify that, 2 squared is a 10. Or you can have a decimal and that's okay too. Either form is fine. Remember that's what goes in there, or out in front, is the hypotenuse. And then beside it is the angle. How do we find the angle? You just did it with your calculator.
Put it in the calculator.
Well, what do we put in our calculator?
Cosine, no.
We have the opposite and adjacent. So
second tangent of 2 over 6.
second tangent of 2 over 6. And what does that give us? How much time has passed?
A minute, or 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. If it comes to about 10 minutes, just stop it. Okay, if we get to that far.
18.435.
Everybody getting that?
Yep.
You probably have it because you put it in your calculator and got the right answer for that other part. Okay, and that's how we do it. Now they're also going to ask us to go the other way, to go backwards. For part B, they ask us, and you can move the thing if you need to. For part B, they ask us to do 5 CIS of 30 degrees. And they want that to put that into A plus BI form. In the past, it was rectangular form. Just now, we're doing it in imaginary numbers. So, 30 is the angle, right? And the 5 is the hypotenuse. 30. 30, 60, 90. Okay, now, except for a hypotenuse is not 2, right? It's 5. So you could do it a short way in that 2, how do you get from 2 to 5? You would multiply by what?
2.
Okay, 2.5 or 5 halves, right? Okay, so opposite to 30 would normally be 1, but we're going to need to multiply that by 5 halves. Okay, you could also set it up, the sine of 30, and set it up that way too. This would just be the shortcut. All right, then this would be opposite to 60 is square root of 3, but then we have to multiply it by 5 halves. So we get 5 square roots of 3 over 2. Okay, now write this in the proper form. What comes first? The x or the y? The x, so it would be 5 square roots of 3 over 2 plus 5 over 2, and that's your imaginary number axis of 5 over 2i. Okay? All right, now number 10, 9 and 10 are really simple. The only thing is that I'm giving you no explanation today. You just have to do the math, but I'll show you why we do it that way, why it is so simple tomorrow. Luke, if you're watching, get well soon. He probably doesn't even know who he is on. All right, so number 9, it says multiply. It's a little weird, but like I said, I'll show you why I'm doing what I'm doing tomorrow. Okay. Multiply simply means to do that. Except for, we do 6 times 2, which is 12. But the angle is not that way. We don't multiply the 300 to the 30, we actually add it for this. And I'll show you why. It doesn't make sense really right now, but you'll see that it does, hopefully tomorrow. Alright, so that's my answer, 12 CS. So with that said, number 10, probably can do that. Anybody, what would that be, Brandon?
6 CIS of 180.
Good. 6 CIS of 180 degrees. That's it.